My weight down this side of the boat's probably not helping. And next thing I know, I was upside down in the water with my sunglasses floating in front of me.
There's a person in the water!
It was only the second or the third time I've been out on the J80s, and the only second or third time I've actually been out racing of any kind of craft. And my main job was, as the halliard was being pulled to raise the spinnaker out, was to pull the rest of the spinnaker out from the spinnaker bag down below and furl in the jib. And that's pretty much where it all went wrong.
Head in hand. Head. Head. Throw it out.
The boat listed really heavily, and I'm down on the kind of lower port side. I felt the boat list with my back towards the port side of the boat. I think you can see me in the video, I kind of reach up. I'm trying to grab onto the edge of the hatch down below, and next thing I know, I was upside down in the water.
Okay. Stop the kite.
Jokingly, the first thing that went through my head was, where are my sunglasses? I'm sure I was wearing them. I also had a silly Lions rugby tour floppy hat on because it was quite a sunny day. Yeah, the hat was still there. The sunglasses, thankfully, were floating right in front of me.
There's a person in the water!
So we'll look at it. Stop the kite.
You good?
Let's get the jib rolled up, please.
Well, they're quite far away, and they still look like they're battling with the spinnaker.
Oh, for f***'s sake, pull the kite in from me! Pat! Pull the kite in! Pat!
Right, you've got to go help Andy. Drop the spinnaker. Well, no, let's drop the spinnaker.
Okay.
Get head down.
No. The other boat is going for him.
They've got the spinnaker in the water. Pull that back line in, now.
Okay, diving. No, we're not diving, sorry. Pull the kite in. Don't drop on the heli completely. Sorry. Can we get the kite in there? It's caught! Well, uncatch it. Get the kite.
I think they're sorted to go get. Their spinnaker is not in the water.
Throw the jib up.
But you really be having a field day.
You alright? Ready, Alex?
Come on. Shall we continue the race?
I'll just float here for a while. I can swim, I'm a confident swimmer. So I was bobbing along, and then they managed to get the boat turned back and came back, and we started the process of trying to get me back on board, which ultimately failed.
That way. Come get me. Shark! Yeah. Now, somebody falls off my line. Come around the back. Yeah, it's the plan. No, wait, mate. Nothing to put my feet in.
Having dislocated both my shoulders playing rugby in the past, someone pulling on them doesn't fill me with confidence.
Hey, I just go pull me over towards the rocks to climb out. James? Can you get Rory out? Get Yuri to come in.
You're allowed up the market pretty fast.
Here, we'll put it in James for you. Yeah. Grab an arm, grab an arm.
So we try to make a loop out of a spare piece of line, and even though I had my foot in that loop, whenever I stood up, it just went back underneath the keel of the boat. So it was almost like my shin was rubbing up against the keel of the boat whilst trying to pull up, whilst trying to lift another leg up over the side.
How about a rope loop that he can put his foot in? Use that black rope, make a loop so he can put his foot in there.
It's just radio Euros to come over. He's not on, he went at the radio.
The radio is here.
It's on the radio, you got your phone on there? Yeah, it's in my bag.
Thankfully, mine went in my bag just before we started.
Ah, thank fuck for that.
Yep. Yuri's batteries are up, look at it. Where? I tried to stand up to go.
No. There was a buffet toss, and we were sort of going into a broach.
Oh, sunny, so
Oh, perfect. Right, I've got a loop here, quick. That'll work.
that actually might work.
Have you got your leg in the loop?
Yeah, but it's just going under there.
Strangely enough, during the debrief, once we all got back ashore, we were informed that it's actually within the regulations to have a ladder on board. I'm not sure that Alex at the helm knew about those regulations, nor where the ladder was stored aboard our J80. But yeah, it would have been handy to have known that before we went out. But hey, we know it for next time, so.
Got a bit, yeah.
So it's about there. Take it out of this race, the man overboard. Yeah.
Got better? Hey, this has been a fun day, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Here is strong.
You phoned him?
Yeah. Oh. How embarrassing.
Still have your glasses, that's good.
You all right now? You all right?
And I knew Yuri was nearby with the powered craft, so I just said, look, radio Yuri, tell him to come get me and I'll climb up. I know it's got a ladder on that one.
Yuri's coming. Hey, Yuri's coming. You can get on the.
So up. Very heavy, really.
Fun.
People in sailing always talk about kind of the cold shock factor when you first hit the water. I don't think I experienced any. It was a shock. Banging my back was a shock. That part was definitely a shock. But when I first landed in the water, there wasn't that instant feeling of like the jump, the sharp breath in that you're meant to have taken. Probably the water was probably 18 degrees or 17 degrees on that day. So jumping into a cold pool probably would have given you more of a shock that day than jumping into the Bay of Gibraltar.
You okay with that, being towed?
It's actually lovely temperature.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It was last night.
Well, the good thing is actually the engine's not working too well, mate.
Yeah.
You know how it's on, didn't you, mate?
Just got back on the.
So the reason this happened
Safety
was
line,
because
right?
Monty ran in us, right?
Yeah, it's all
Yeah, because we wouldn't have had the boat
it was
out.
Yeah.
I went ready to pull to winch the gibbet.
That's why I was down on
I
that
didn't
side.
even know you'd fallen in. I was looking around like
There's nobody shouting man overboard. Where did all your fucking training go, people?
When the J80 first got back to me, the first person I saw was James on the front of it saying, Andy, are you all right? And I was like, I'm absolutely fine. I think at which point the kind of overall stress levels for those that's left aboard the boat go down, because I'm all right and I've said I'm all right and I'm okay and I'm sufficiently floating in the water. By the time I got back on board, there was a lot more laughs and jokes and people wondering whether the cameras had picked it up, which they evidently did.
If you let
not
go,
done any training.
hey, Andy, if you let go, he'll and get him.
You got a ladder off the back of it.
Yeah, he has. You'll be able to pull it out. It's on the
Yeah.
It's on the port side at the back.
Okay.
Well, I was already wet so taking a swim wouldn't make much of a difference. So yeah, because I had been down on that side a couple of times where the water was coming kind of up and over just before I went over the back. I mean, I was already sat in a massive puddle anyway, so going for a swim wasn't going to make much of a difference. The weather was nice on that day. It was, not going to say it was roasting hot, but it was warm. The sea temperature wasn't cold. So for me, actually, the idea of backward rolling into the water wasn't something that was going to put me off. Going for a swim on a nice afternoon isn't an issue. If I'd known it was going to be that much of a problem getting back on board, maybe I would have tried harder to stay aboard. But like I said earlier, that bang on my back against the lifeline had hurt, and I didn't know if I was going to get stuck there or not. So for me, it was the idea of rolling backwards and just going in the water was the better idea then, also because my weight was on that side of the boat and we were almost in a broach. So if I couldn't move up the boat, maybe the easier solution was to go off it.
On the broach. On the broach. Stop it. Yeah.
Yeah, get past him.
It's good he's in good colour. It's seen by the boat behind us.
Yeah, kill. And gear off, engine stop. Yeah.
But it's
Any dead on? Keep going.
Should we go back?
I think we can still win.
well, if we go to the finish line straight away,
Yeah.
we will be
Like, what
done.
kept you guys? Come on.
So let's have a bit of a debrief. Right?
Okay.
I'm not saying it's anyone's fault here, but we're all blaming.
Yes.
But this boat was in
And then I was put back on board and we actually went back and raced again and didn't nearly capsize the boat.
possible to
Yes.
and then when we have it all sorted, we go.
I think you're right.
Got your catch? Next to go?
Yeah, go. Huey, go.
Did I feel unsafe at any point? I think the part that I felt most unsafe because I was unsure how to fix it being so new into sailing was just before I ended up in the water when I realised that the boat had keeled over quite far or had listed over quite far, and I saw the water coming up and onto the deck. At that point there was a swear word, something bad is happening here. But no, the only time I was in a point of this is a sticky situation was at that first point where I was kind of down, quite low down on the port side of the boat, ready to furl in the jib, and I saw the water was actually coming up and over the side of the deck because the boat had listed over that far to the port side. Was it scary watching the boat sail away? No, and maybe that's a bit of bravado to say no, but for me I just felt like, well, we're all sailing in the bay. There's another 6 or 7 J80s sailing around as well, and I also knew that Yuri was out on the powered craft as well, so there was multiple options. The alternative was a short swim to the rocks to climb out, so I don't think watching the boat sail away filled me with any kind of dread or fear. I think if we'd been doing the Straits Challenge, which is this weekend, and the idea is to go across the Straits to North Africa, and nobody's really going to be circling back, and there's also massive shipping tankers going through the Straits every day, I think there would be more fear and trepidation at that point in time. But no, in a little race around the harbour, I didn't have that. I didn't have the fear of watching the boat go away, just purely because I knew there was plenty of other craft in the water that day.
Yeah, lock it. Tack along the line.
Go.
Handle that. Go. Yeah. Pull the tack. Pull. Pull. Ready for the halyard.
Go, hoy.
Go.
How quickly did it take for the boat to come back to me? Weirdly, when there's a point of stress, time, your perception of time always changes. Having watched the video back, it felt a lot longer from the first time the boat tilted to me going in. and I'm sure it was only a couple of seconds. Floating in the water, I'm sure it probably feels like it probably ends up being longer than this rather than shorter, but I felt they were back within a minute or two, maybe 3 at an absolute push. But like I said, because there wasn't that panic and there wasn't, oh God, are they going to leave me behind? Because we knew we were in a race around a pretty safe harbour and a pretty safe bay. It didn't feel that long at all. For me, it was a couple of minutes, maybe 3 at most. I don't think at any point I was like, oh God, I'm overboard. But I think that's because I'm in a bay where I've swum all my life. And I knew I wasn't too far from the Spanish side of the rocks. So I could always swim over there and hopefully somebody would go get my passport or come and pick me up.
Good.
It was last night.
Well, the good thing is actually the engine's not working too well, mate.
Probably from a sailing standpoint, because I am still learning, I'm doing some courses at the moment. Maybe always take a breath before you go on to the next task on board, because if we had just got the spinnaker up and made sure it was out, the level of racing that we're undertaking, furling the jibbing straight away, as much as it's important, it's not drastically important. It's not going to win or lose you a race at this level. So yeah, maybe to have waited for Alex to then say, right, now furl in the jib, rather than go, right, the standard process is we get the spinnaker up and then we furl in the jib so it's not getting in the way of the spinnaker. So taking a breath and giving yourself time to assess the state of the boat after the spinnaker's gone up, I think is the biggest thing I've taken away from it, and something that I think I would always think about now is like, right, are we in decent conditions now? Yes, if we're in decent conditions, then we can worry about pulling out a sail or bringing one down. So that's like the biggest thing. I don't think I panicked in the moment. I think there was a few panicked voices on board. Don't panic in any situation. And third, maybe wear a life vest, because I wasn't wearing one. And if the weather had been different, if we'd been in different conditions, if the water hadn't been as warm, I think it would have been a different scenario. I'm not sure what the regulations are in our league in terms of wearing a personal flotation device. I think it has to be over a certain amount of wind before they're compulsory. But yeah, I think if you're ever sailing conditions where you're not 100% sure of what the water temperature is or what the weather's going to be like, if it could be gusty or blowy, then yeah, always have your flotation device on, which I did not.
For the sake of clarity, we know that some people are going to notice and talk about the fact that he's not wearing a life jacket during this video. So we want to clarify some of the rules of JAT monotype fleet sailing. Rule 40 of the World Sailing Rules, there's a part that mentions about a Yankee flag. We use the Yankee flag in our fleet racing. If it's hoisted on the committee boat, it means that for that race, it is mandatory to wear personal flotation devices. If the Yankee flag's hoisted before everybody leaves the dock, so if it's hoisted before the day's racing, that means that it's mandatory for all of the races of that day to wear a personal flotation device. However, there was no Yankee flag hoisted before we left the dock, and there was no Yankee flag hoisted before we started the race. Therefore, it was not mandatory for us to wear personal flotation devices. It's always a balancing act. In high-pace racing, skipping the bulky gear means that you can improve the crew's agility and maneuverability around the boat. And because of the mild conditions that we had that day, that's what we decided on. And the crew was safe to not wear their personal flotation devices on that day.
It was a fun kind of environment to get back on board, because it's not every day somebody goes overboard on a J. So there was a lot of laughing at my expense. We didn't continue that race in the day, obviously because they had a man overboard, which it's their responsibility to come and get me. And they'd lost so much time with the problem with having kind of gone over and dropping the spinnaker in the water. But we did actually then race the next race of the day. So that race obviously had to be abandoned because they had a man overboard situation, but we did race the next race of the afternoon, so we got back to it. Yeah, the incident didn't bother me enough to put me off sailing. I've been out multiple times since. I was out on the 595s last night in nice light breezes. It was good fun. Managed to get their spinnaker up without going overboard. My advice to anybody who's going sailing is always wear your life jacket or your personal flotation device. And if you do end up in that situation when you're overboard, know that the crew have obviously recognised that you've gone overboard at that point in time when you're on a small craft like a J80, and don't panic. If you've got your flotation device on, you're safe. Try and relax, take deep breaths, and hope that, and wait for them to come back and get you.
Okay. Stop the guy. Next to go? Yeah, go.